Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 25 of Never Before Seen. My name is AmberCyprian. I will be your host tonight as we bring you a speedrun of a category that has never before been seen in a mainline GDQ event. As always, if you happen to speedrun a game or a category that has never been run in an AGDQ, SGDQ, or GDQx event, and you would like to submit it to the show, type !NBS into the chat to find the link to be able to send me your runs, and I would love to have you on board. So before we get started with the runs that we have planned, or with the run that we have planned for tonight, we do have a few announcements. First and foremost, if you missed out on any GDQ hotfix shows, maybe you just missed most of Mercy Kill like me because I was sleeping and you would like to catch it, check out our archive of past runs and shows at youtube.com/gamesdonequick, getting those runs up relatively soon after the show, so probably within a day or two. If you are watching this on YouTube, feel free to join us over at twitch.tv/gamesdonequick live and check out our shows there, starting most nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. And while you're there, Hotfix is funded in part thanks to your subscriptions and bits, so please consider subscribing to help support future broadcasts. GDQ Some of Best segments, speaking of YouTube, is a highlight channel with small highlight reels for all of our main events in Hotfix. Use and sorry, not MBS, highlights in Twitch chat to learn more. And AGDQ 2022 online will be January 9th through the 16th. Visit gamesdonequick.com for more information and detailed dates on the event, including the schedule. And Frost Fatales, speaking of schedules, is live. That schedule is up right now. If you go to gamesdonequick.com/framefatales for more information about that event starting on February 27th, you'll be able to find the schedule there as well. It's got a really sick game list, and I'm really looking forward to watching that as well in February. So tonight's episode of Never Before Seen is brought to you by the letter E. Can you say E? E is for Eslo, and Eslo means we're doing The Legend of Zelda the Minish cap. So we're joined by Myth197 and his commentator TGH as they take us on a miniature and glitchless journey through Hyrule to learn our ABEs and, maybe save the world from Vadi in the process. So how are you two doing tonight?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, I was doing all right.
Yeah, so, we're going to be playing Glitchless today. People may be aware of the any percent category, a bunch of crazy glitches that we do. Not going to be doing any of them tonight. We're just going to be playing through the game, pretty much through the main story quest, all of the major beats, all of the dungeons done in an almost intended way.
Almost.
Almost. Right, so we shall be going off as soon as I do a reset for the first trick of the run. So I'll reset and then the run will start in 12 seconds. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so, where do we begin? So the whole reason of what I was doing there was I was doing a hard reset. This game came out on the Game Boy Advance, and it's got a really rudimentary RNG system, which resets every time you turn the power on and off. So we do that at the beginning of the run, and RNG is going to progress the same amount through the intro, so that when we get to the pots in Link's house, as long as we do the same set of actions leading up to that point, we're always going to get the same random item drop from it. We're going to do that to get a blue rupee. So this is the first RNG manipulation of the run. It's a very, very easy manipulation to do, and we're pretty much not going to touch on more RNG manipulations for a while. They will feature heavily later on in the run, and especially in the final dungeon. A vast majority of that dungeon is pretty much fully RNG manipulated to give us perfect enemy movements.
Yeah, I think the next time we even touch RNG manipulation is in Temple of Droplets, correct? Or do
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think I do anything until Octominip. Yeah, I think that will be the first minute we do. Yeah, so below me, I have my frame counter or the emulator that I'm playing it on, and also we've got the input display so you can see all of the buttons that I'm mashing. So in this room we're going to be doing 2 rolls to set the RNG, and there we go. Correct?
Yeah, so these 5 rupees that Myth gets here are actually really important to the route. Otherwise, the rupee route just barely comes up short regularly for getting the grip ring on Mount Krenel, which costs 40 rupees. And those 5 rupees really come in handy.
In the first half of the run, we're going to be buying 3 items, so we do kind of care about rupees, and then we're going to stop caring about them later on. I'm not sure off the top of my head which other Zelda games. Rupee counts normally do matter quite a lot in most Zelda games, and this one, it matters in the first half and then in the second half. As soon as you bought your 3rd item, we'll be done.
So some folks have already asked, like, why does that frame counter go red? That is actually during the time when the game is not accepting inputs, which mostly happens, like, you know, during screen transitions, saves, so on and so forth. If anyone has ever done a task and you, like, are going frame by frame, you will see, like, frames like that when either you're playing back or if you're going through, and you'll know when the game is not going to let you do anything.
Right, so we're playing through the festival section. So we've got the Picori Festival going on in the story right now. Zelda is our best friend, and she's taking us on a journey around to see all of the stuff that's going on in the festival. She won a game and won a shield, which is going to be very useful because we need to use it right now. First enemy fight of the game over. They'll get much trickier later on. So now we're at part of the game where there was a big sword fighting tournament that happened somewhere, and this is the ceremony where they're congratulating the winner of it, and they're about to announce who it was, and it is this guy here, Vati. So Vati is the main villain of this game. He is he's going to be a real pain for us later on in the final dungeon.
Ah yes, Vati has such a villainous aura with, you know, the constant wind physics that doesn't affect anyone else.
So this is the only cutscene in the game where Vati walks. Every single other cutscene after this one, he teleports everywhere. And there'll be a very funny cutscene that will come up after the second dungeon, involving the king.
That one.
Yeah, he teleports into the room, and instead of just walking a couple of steps, he just like teleports like 2 feet.
Because he can.
Well, at that point, he's already, you know, revealed himself to be the villain, and villains must teleport behind you. That's what all edgy villains do.
So Zelda's been turned to stone. That's not great. The king's going to send all of the guards out now to go and try and find out, like, I think they're going to go hunt down Vati. I believe that's what the story is doing at this point. And in the meantime, we've been told to go and take the broken Picori blade to the Minish that have been found in the Minish woods. Because we're a kid, and in the lore of this game, only the Minish can be seen by children. This game is really heavily inspired by a lot of European folk tales, and especially like German and Central European ones.
Yeah, there's even a reference to the Shoemaker, if I'm like the tiny elves in the Shoemaker fairy tale.
So now we're in the first main sequence where enemies are now spawned in the overworld, and we're in like the main gameplay mechanic of this game. And the run is pretty much going to be the same from this point on. We're going to be moving room to room, doing rolls to go as quickly as possible, and avoiding enemies wherever possible as well, and reacting to the random movements that the enemies do.
can. There's a lot of nuance to this movement too, like just maximizing the amount of rolls that you do does add up throughout the course of the run. Like this is not a short run, so rolls really do. You know, as the fastest method of movement, you got to maximize them basically.
So we are introduced to our companion for this game, the lovely Zelda. Sorry, Eslo.
I was like, Zelda looking very, very different today.
I was about to say.
Ah, yes, the one time he doesn't say E.
Yeah, there's a yelp from Eslo, but yeah, most of the time he's going to stop us every 5 seconds to backseat us and tell us where to go and what to do next.
I hope chat's ready to spam E throughout the night.
I don't know the total count of Eslo triggers that we have in this run.
A lot.
But it will be... It's a lot.
All right, here's an assignment for those in Twitch chat and maybe those in YouTube when this VOD goes live. I want y'all to post how many E's actually are said in the run. This is probably easier for the YouTube folks, but if someone actually posts the number of E triggers that we get in Twitch chat and is correct, I will be impressed.
I think there have been, what, 3 so far?
I think so.
If you want to count the 2 times he says, like, I think he says E when he appears and he's being bullied by some Octoroks, says E twice when he's trying to follow you before he yelps, and then says E like 2 rolls afterwards after he gets on your head. So I think we're at 4.
So we got ambushed by the Minish at the beginning of this area, and we can understand the word they said. I think in the European versions, all of the text is backwards to what they're trying to actually say. And in the Japanese version, there's something to do with it's a different alphabet of characters that they're using. I'm not exactly sure how it works. But we need to go and get this nut so that we can understand what the Minish are saying to us.
I believe it's called the Jabber Nut.
I think that's correct, yeah. It's either Jabber or Jabba. I don't remember.
It's Jabba. And there's a little quiz we do. We don't see it at all in this run, but in the 100% speed run, we go and see a great fairy, and she gives us a little quiz. She asks you, what was the nut that you got? And some of the fake answers are great, so it's like the blabber nut and stuff like that. So we are now in our first dungeon, Deepwood Shrine. There's gonna be nothing too complex in this dungeon. It's all just avoiding enemies and trying to get through the rooms as quickly as possible without taking damage. And also, there are a lot of Eslo triggers. So one of the main things that we need to pay attention to with the Eslo triggers is the region in the room that we need to touch to make them trigger. And making sure that we don't roll into them. If we roll into a Eslo trigger, Link freezes in place for quite a considerable amount of time. It's just over a second, and that's very slow. So we want to make sure that we don't ever roll into an Eslo trigger.
Speaking of rolls, by the way, you may have already seen it, but Link rolling gives him iframes as well throughout pretty much the duration of the roll. I think almost the entirety of it. So yeah, you'll see that pretty consistently, just myth rolling through enemies.
Yeah, it's a lot of improvisation and practice of judging how you think the enemy is going to move, and then lining up your rolls so that you have iframes throughout the whole of passing through them. Oh my save.
Oh,
That was I have not done that in a very long time. I don't know why I tried to roll. So R is a contextual button. It controls rolling and also picking up objects, which is not good there.
Here's to binding multiple actions to one button because the GBA didn't have more than 4 buttons other than the D-pad.
I enjoy that pause to count how many buttons were on the GBA.
Look, I had to think about it, okay?
I mean, to be fair, if it were me, I probably would have had to do the same. Technically, there's 6 if you count start and select.
I hope that is just the biggest mistake of this run. If so, it will be great.
I think it will be. Yep, so we have these mushrooms here that you pull and fling yourself across water or other obstacles. Later on, we'll be doing it over just like straight up holes. Places like Mount Krennel. This room is pretty annoying. These slugs can just like spawn, well, they don't spawn randomly, but they move randomly after they spawn. And it can make the spaces pretty awkward to roll through them.
So we're about halfway through the dungeon now. We're going to get the next item in the next room and fight the mini-boss of the dungeon.
Yep. And that mini-boss is Matterpillar. So Matterpillar, basically, if we do this correctly, should take 2 cycles, and that's a pretty optimal first cycle, honestly. Nice
exactly
web
what you
action
want.
there. Yep, so you gotta hit him in the nose, and then his tail becomes vulnerable, and you gotta go around and hit him in the tail. Still pretty good.
Yeah, it was a 2 cycle, which is what you want.
All right, now we have the Gust Jar, which allows us to, well, use wind to our advantage.
Yeah, so we can
To
sub up
either-
those bits of web to reach a new part of the dungeon. We can go down into the basement. And everyone's favorite movement over the water, the lily pads. Lily pad movement is incredibly awkward for people who have experienced it. It's you're always going in the wrong direction with it.
Yeah, as if it's not awkward enough, you have these enemies called pestos, who definitely live up to their name, or at least the first part of their name.
Oh no.
That's like a pixel away.
So the lily pad maintains momentum, and it bounced off the wall after I got off of it and got too far away. That's
the same exact thing happened there.
Lily pads don't exist in this game.
Yeah, lily pads are not being friendly right now.
No one likes lily pads in this. But luckily, this is the last bit with the lily pad, and we can get off of it finally.
Yep, there's some weird mechanics overall with the lily pads. Like for instance, if you're going at like maximum speed or just going straight, you can actually blow the Gust Jar in a perpendicular direction to sort of like multiply your speed slightly, which was utilized at the very end there, as well as some weird edge correction as well. But edge correction really can help you there. We will see lily pads again in Temple of Droplets.
Oh boy, yeah, it's less obnoxious in that dungeon. But that's the end of this dungeon, and now for the boss of this dungeon, which is just a regular-sized green chew. But the issue is that we're tiny, so this is actually going to be a I mean, for the speedrun, it's not a difficult fight, but
To me, this is just like really cool design, honestly. Like, I don't know if you consider it game design or just writing or whatever, but I think this is a really cool concept.
yeah, it really encompasses the theme of this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, these enemies here are normally very, very small and kind of like easy to kill, if you will, in the main overworld. But as a Minish, that thing is significantly larger than you and way more threatening, like, you know, in lore, if you will. And having to defeat it like this is very unique.
Yep, so this boss takes 3 cycles, ordinarily. You only need to hit him 5 times to advance the cycle after he falls down. But basically the idea is just to suck up the base, and then he'll fall over.
Yeah,
he'll always fall
this
in
is
the
an average
direction.
fight.
Yeah, he'll always fall in the direction that he sways first. So like in that instance, he swayed to the right first, and so Myth knows to just stay to the right side, and that's the fight. There's a pretty considerable amount of RNG in that fight. About 5 seconds worth, either way. 5 seconds of variance.
Yeah, we kind of got the bad RNG. There was an option to do perfect gust uses to save one of those jumps, which I didn't get, but that's a very difficult fight to perfectly optimize, so you just take whatever you get. So now that we've done the first dungeon, we're going to come back to the Elder Minish here. So we got the quest from him where we gave the broken Picori sword, and he said that in order to restore it back to its full strength, we need to go to the Malari and the Mountain Minish in Mount Krenel, and we need to collect the 4 elements and infuse the sword with power of all of these elements to restore it back to full power. And here we also picked up the bombs, and there's a little caveat with the bombs that we're going to have to talk about, which is in the any percent speedrun, you normally want to do a little glitch with the bombs called a roll lift, which involves doing a frame perfect roll a couple of frames after actually placing a bomb on the ground, and it breaks the fuse timer on the bomb and makes it explode about a second faster than normal. That's explicitly banned in Glitchless, so we need to not do roll lifts. It should be really obvious if I do one, which I won't do, but I'll roll and the bomb will kind of bounce in the air.
Yeah, it's also impossible to do one while moving straight right or left, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to be doing a slight diagonal.
Yeah, so I guess that's one way to always avoid doing it. But right there, by the way, I actually really like that interaction. That guy basically tries to teach you how to fuse kinstones, and we just kind of say, I don't have time for that. And you save and quit to avoid doing it.
Yeah, he's like, oh, did you get everything? Did you understand what I was saying? I was like, I answered yes, and then I'm just imagining from his perspective, Link just standing still for a couple of seconds and then just disappearing into the ether.
I need an animated, like, speedrun, like, joke of that, or even just a webcomic would be fine. I could think of the peace, like, the peace out not webcomic, but meme where, like, the kid is standing there, like, holds up the peace sign and then just fades out of existence.
Yeah, so right there, what you just saw with the bomb, by the way, was Myth essentially dropping the bomb, picking it up and throwing it right away at nothing. That actually makes the bomb explode faster, because when the bomb actually explodes is dependent on, like, basically when you, like, essentially throwing it makes the bomb explode faster. Like, it makes the fuse tick faster, I guess. Oh, good, that worked. Okay, God.
Oh yeah, no, I'm fine with that.
I was like, wait.
Oh yeah, I'm used to doing it from that spot.
I am not, and I was like, whoa.
So we have to be kind of cautious with the amount of bombs we use here. We've got about 2 bombs of leniency. So we can waste a bomb or 2. Ideally, no more than 1. If we're on 2, then if we waste 2 bombs, then things can get a bit sketchy later on the mountain.
Yeah, and you get these, every time you encounter a new way to become a Minish, you get an unskippable cutscene, which is unfortunate, but you never have to watch that cutscene again.
And Eslo's so surprised each time, is like, wow, we can even shrink from these?
Yeah, so we do that to get green water here, which we are going to use to water a green beanstalk later. And the way the game like sort of hints at this casually is very, at least to me, to someone like me who is unobservant. Yeah,
I was listening to you and not paying attention to where I should be using my bombs.
But yeah, the way the game hints at that is, at least to the unobservant, it can be very obtuse almost. Because like you'll notice that the green beanstalks only grow when you pour green water on them. Oh yeah,
I definitely remember being a kid and being stuck in this area for a very long amount of time, probably like a month or so.
Honestly, same.
Not understanding. I think the only other bottleneck when I first played this as a kid was Vati. Because Vati is just horrific for everyone casually.
I still remember my casual with this. I think it took me a while to get past the first phase, like body 1, because I did the intended solution, or I ended up like, trying in the midst of trying a bunch of stuff. I did the intended solution, but it didn't work because it happened just as he was like trying to teleport away. And I was like, oh, okay, that doesn't work. I'm never going to try that again. I'm literally just never going to try that again. And of course, that was part of the reason why it took me so long to get through it. Anyway, enough about that. We are continuing to ascend up Mount Krenel here, and we're about to get the grip ring really soon.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the mountain, we picked up a bunch of rupees. There's a lot right at the beginning, which is super handy. So we picked all of those up, and we managed to buy the bottle before coming here. And also now we've got the grip ring, so that we can climb these climbable walls.
Nice damage boost.
I'm trying to not, but the enemies are just insisting.
You don't want to take a lot of damage here because this wall can be really, really volatile.
Exhibit A.
Like so.
The meatballs do deal a half a heart of damage, which is more than most enemies. Only a quarter. My health was pretty good here. Now it's okay. So with speed running on the Japanese version of the game, and a lot of games are run on the Japanese version mainly because of tech speed reasons, but for Minish Cap it's because there are 3 versions of this game. There's the North American version, the European version, and the Japanese. The European version was actually an earlier build of the game and has more bugs and exclusive glitches to it, but we don't run on it because after the penultimate dungeon, Palace of Winds, in order to leave that dungeon, you want to play the ocarina to be able to fast travel. You can't do that at the entrance area, and you have to climb all the way out of the Wind Tribe, which loses about 40 seconds. But otherwise, European and Japanese have the same applicable glitches. And obviously in glitchless, that one thing alone of not being able to fast travel immediately makes the Japanese version faster.
Does Japanese also save on text?
I think it does, but it's probably negligible in comparison to the other things.
Gotcha.
Like, especially with the North American version, every time you do a save and quit, Eslo will talk to you when you load back into the game. And we do a lot of save and quits in this, so that just quickly racks up the time loss.
Yeah, so health is looking pretty good at this point. 2 hearts is honestly, sometimes it feels like a luxury in the second half of Macronal, leading up to Cave of Flames. But there is health right at the beginning of Cave of Flames if you do want a health refill. So that's good.
In any percent, you normally always pick them up if you're kind of on this health, because you don't get any more chances until you're in Gleerock, the boss. But in glitchless, we do go past a lot of pots and other guaranteed heart spots. So if I don't get hit by anything else, I'll probably not grab health. And on second thought, I'm going to go and grab the health at the beginning of the dungeon.
It's really never a bad idea. At least that's what I've found. It's just it's almost never a bad idea to grab that health.
We can do it like your kind of cool strat with the Gust Jar to break both the pots simultaneously, so you get like 2 for 1. It's a 2 for 1 deal, which you don't put that. You don't say no to a 2 for 1.
You get the health plus the plus the swag, basically. The swag health. I'm not sure I've ever heard that combination of words to describe a strat before, but the swag health.
There we go. And we're also on the perfect number of bombs right now. Yeah, being on 0 now is completely fine, because we're going to grab a bunch of bomb drops before we need to use bombs again. That was a really nice...
Yeah, I was about to say those rooms are obnoxious right there. Well, the first room more than the second one, but those were both very well handled. Especially that first bomb room. That room is awful.
You have to mostly rely on the first 2 bob-bombs playing nice, but then if you get out of the doorway, you can deal with whatever RNG they throw at you at that point.
Speaking of obnoxious rooms, coming up we have our sort of introduction to mini Helmosaurs. But there's this initial strat you can do entering the room, and then you're kind of on your own and at the mercy of these guys to charge at you. But that was pretty okay.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. The luck on the enemy movement immediately at the start was not good, but then they played nice at the end. Let me easily kill them.
So something I guess to note is that as a Minish in, I guess you'd call it the overworld, but like in any sort of normal screen when you're really small, when you're a Minish, the timing to roll, I think rolls take ordinarily 32 frames, or you can roll every 32 frames, but every 29 frames you can roll as a Minish. Is that correct?
It's 28
28. Okay.
for regular sized Link and 25 for Minish, I believe.
Oh, I was very off.
So we got a double heart drop there. So we this was one of the reasons why I said getting hearts at the start wasn't too vital, because every bit of fire that you slash has a really high chance of dropping hearts. So there's a lot of guaranteed bits of fire that will be in the way later on in the dungeon, and we can just kind of farm them for heart drops. Yeah, you don't complain about being on full health.
Nope.
Yeah, this category is categorized a lot by its health management. Later on in the game, you have to do a lot of decision making whether or not it's worth the time to go out of your way to grab extra health, or if you think you can make the next couple of rooms worth of enemies without dying.
Alright, so there's a strat for this mini boss fight. Coming up, we have the spiky choo-choo fight. So spin slash, and then just like kind of waiting patiently for them all to lunge at you.
A little bit too fast, I think. Hello?
Still not bad. Still better than like missing the strat altogether and just like totally
So yeah, we're gonna have to ride this minecart over here and push this pillar into the hole to get another small key, and then that will let us go down the staircase and the locked door that we just went past. There's a cycle on these guys, and yeah, okay, there it is. You do try and move up to the Minish section as quickly as possible, and then do a brief pause at when you reach the blade guys, and then you kind of just belt it across as quickly as you can, and you can make a.
Yeah, the timing is super tight on that chain of rolls.
And there's two intentional bits of damage that we take there. Okay, they played nice.
That was really smooth.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun you can have with the roller bites in this room.
Fun, quote unquote. Fun, including something we do in any percent, but not in this run.
So here's another, like, a big patch of fire that we slash to get a heart. You're pretty unlucky if you don't get a heart drop from that big patch of fire. And then one of the pots over here has a guaranteed heart as well. So as long as you know where the hearts are, you shouldn't be too worried. So there was a little double cycle that we did there. We went over two bits of two of the platforms in one like crossover period, just to be able to get to the next room one cycle earlier than intentionally.
Yeah, that's harder than it looks, by the way. Alright, so we're coming up on the end of this dungeon now. To go back through the main room, using these, I don't think we've mentioned anything about these tornadoes.
Yeah, this is rather comical. Come on, like Eslo's just like inflated up in the air, and
yeah, I was about to say there's nothing really to note about like this sort of movement here, except for the fact that Link is quite literally floaty.
We don't
And
actually care
it's-
about the movement in this room because we'll have to wait for a cycle of the lava platforms to move back. So you can go incredibly slowly here and still not losing any time. Oh, that was 2 hearts from that fire. But yeah, now we're into the boss.
All right, so here we have Gleerock, who, according to the lore of this game, is actually a combination of 7 different legendary Pokemon. See if you can name all of them. The fight itself is nothing too complicated. Just you have to get 8 hits per cycle, except for the last one, which requires 5. Basically, some of the shots you can get on the shell with the cane are pretty tight, especially if you come from the front.
But twerk.
It's always fun to do. And as you can see, like if you get burned there, it forces Link to run around at like several times the speed of his normal movement. You can get rid of that state faster by changing direction. So basically just mashing your D-pad or swiveling your D-pad.
I'm also legally obligated to inform you there are Gleerocks on the walls.
Yeah, this is his shrine. No judgment.
All right, I have to shout out Dreamy's going to blame me there for losing like 50 frames because I didn't make Gleerock face down at the end of this fight, which is technically faster.
Why is that faster?
So you saw there was a white flash there at the end of the fight.
Yeah.
It's there to cover up the model of Gleerock rotating to face down at the bottom. If it's already facing down at the bottom, the white flash instantly ends. Whereas if Gleerock's facing any other orientation, then it holds it for up to 50 frames.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. Honestly, I feel like the more important part there is just hitting the shell as quickly as possible, and however you can do that is probably the best way to do that. But that's good to know still. All right, so now the sword is repaired, but you still have to fuse the elements with it. So we are going to, I think the next dungeon that we do is Fortress of Winds.
It's gonna be quite a while from now. This is the story section.
I was about to say, it's going to be a long time before we get there, but the next dungeon that we do is Fortress of Winds. Eventually. Yeah, this is basically the exposition segment here. Like we have a bunch of long cutscenes in the split.
This game breaks up its dungeons with a lot of quests to get the item needed to reach the next dungeon, and hides them behind a long fetch quest, which is slightly obnoxious. The boot quest isn't too bad because it's only got one fetch quest, which is the mushroom, but later on we're going to get the flippers, and in order to get the flippers we need to go and get all of the books, and people who played this casually understand the pain of having to try and find all of the books, but not only that, having to hit all of the flags so that they actually spawn.
Yeah, luckily recently it was an RTA possible setup was just found for Boots quest skip. I don't know if you wanted to try that in this run.
It is definitely not RTA viable. It is TAS only, absolutely. Toadswoot, who is a well-known speedrunner of this game and glitch hunter, discovered a method of manipulating the snakes in the swamp to give you damage boosts so that you can get over the swamp water without having to get the boots.
Yeah. It's not a glitch though, so you can definitely do it in this category if you wanted to. Of course, you know, never mind all the other times that you need boots during the run, but it just, yeah, it's fine. What's the worst that could happen?
I'm not even sure I could task it to be faster. There's like 6 different bits of the swamp water that we'll have to pass in glitchless.
Yeah, no, I think Tampa said something like even if you pulled it off perfectly, it wouldn't be faster even for a task, I think. But yeah, so now that we've upgraded to the red sword, as soon as we leave this castle, we're gonna get confronted by Body, and we're gonna have to fight these spear moblins, which is a pretty short fight, and then we get to watch a long cutscene.
It's like Eslo's like, whoa! Like upon seeing Vati. Eslo does say more than the letter E sometimes.
Also, that was perfect.
Yeah,
Pixel perfect position after the fight as well.
That's very tricky. You have to practice that quite a bit to make sure that the moblins don't just wreck you. This is the backstory cutscene where we're finding out the origin story of Eslo and Vati. So it turns out Vati was one of Eslo's pupils, and Eslo made this magic cap. And Vati got a hold of it, and this magic cap like grants powers to the user based on their personality. Apparently Vati was like full of like hate and anger, so like he got a bunch of evil powers.
I just realized the reason Eslo turns into a duck is because of his cane. Like, his cane and his body fuse, and he gets the duck head of the cane. But the reason he has that, like, weird tuft at the top of his head is because of the shape of his hair. I'm not gonna see that cutscene any other way now.
Now for the best cutscene in the game.
Yeah, for reasons which I think we shouldn't really vocalize, I think that you should just watch this cutscene.
Any PK subs in chat?
Teleport's like 6 feet.
So everyone was a little bit confused there because the king's starting to act a little bit weird. He told everyone to stop looking for Vati and instead to go and search for the light power. I don't think it's explicitly the Triforce in this game, but it's...
No, it's just the Light Force, or it's called the Light Force, I think, in English, but in Japanese, apparently, like... Light Force, Force Gems, and Force are all called Force. So it's essentially the same thing, I guess, in Japanese.
Oh yeah, also after that cutscene, we went and read a sign. That sets the flag because the sign says the swamp is over in this direction. Make sure to bring your Pegasus boots. And that sets the flag so that we can... come and talk to the Minish here, and these Minish coming and talking to these Minish will in turn set the flag to make Malon move out of the way of the Minish hole over in Long Long Ranch. So we're going to go over to there now, and that is what lets us go and get the magic mushroom. So there's a lot of having to know in advance, okay, these are the things that trigger these flags that allow for us to do this next part of the game.
so Talon pulling the relatable card and locking himself out of his house. We need to become a Minish to go in and get the key. And now we can pass through this area.
I just like it that he doesn't even bat an eyelid at why we have his spare key.
Yeah, you're just like, yo, my key, thanks. This isn't weird.
That Octo was perfectly in the way. I couldn't figure out a way of avoiding him. So yeah, back in the previous dungeon, we picked up a chest which had 50 rupees in it, and that was the last point that we cared about rupees because we're about to buy the magic mug, which costs 60 rupees. So yeah, after this point, we don't need to buy anything else, so we're good.
Yep. So now I go use this mushroom to wake up the shoemaker, and he's gonna give us the Pegasus boots. Which not only is required for progression through Cast Your Wilds and through a bunch of other parts of the game, but also just allows us to move very fast over long spans of distance.
And it stops my hands from getting arthritis from having to roll every half second. Mailman got in the way briefly.
Yep. Typical postman.
I kind of don't like the health that I'm on here, so I'm just going to go for this little backup here.
Yeah, pretty smart play. And nothing got in your way on the way through. Ew.
Yeah,
nice.
that tree has a 29 and 32 chance of dropping a fairy. Sometimes it drops a kinstone. There are... it's quite common with all of these trees around in the overworld, the specific trees that if you bonk into them, they can drop a fairy. They have a very, very tiny chance of dropping a kinstone. And the any percent category has just recently changed to actually require us to have to get fairies from those trees. So there's a very tiny chance that a
someone could get
RNG gets
screwed over by that.
someone in particular could get screwed over by that on an otherwise flawless run.
I'm sure that's never happened to anybody. But anyway, so this area, so Cast Your Wilds involves you having to fuse golden kinstones with 3 different statues at the end of this area, and you just kind of have to go get them. They're scattered throughout the area in chests. And we're gonna get the bow in here. That was actually pretty well done. That room can get very messy, just if it decides to.
I also bottled some water here. That's going to come up in like half an hour. Dude.
So now that we have the bow, we can progress through this part because the bow can shoot these statues in the eye and actually activate them. You can just roll through them, which is nice.
So you'll see me do this technique with the bow. If I fire an arrow with the bow, Link has a really slow animation to put it away after you fired the arrow, and it's actually left and it's like flying through the air. If we activate the boot, it cancels whatever animation we're currently in, So we can use that to shorten the cooldown after firing the arrow. So we can use it to speed up the bow use, basically. Also, easiest menu in the game here. It's just a start, press A, unpause.
Yeah, each time you save and quit, it resets the position of the cursor in your menu, but otherwise it stays put. So that's why that menu is possible. Menuing is nice in this game compared to other Game Boy Zelda games. Every other Game Boy or Game Boy Color Zelda game actually gives you like the freedom to move the items around in your menu wherever you want to, which is I don't know. I'm a weirdo and I like it, but it is sometimes very annoying because you can mess up your menu, and it really helps to know where those items are in your menu. But in this game, you don't need to worry about that at all.
Which is great for me because I cannot deal with the inventory system in the Oracle games and Link's Awakening. Every time I open up the menu, I have to reanalyze every single position of everything to figure out what the menu needs to be. It's one of the reasons why my menus in Minish Cap aren't particularly great. It's I quickly see what it is and then figure out what the menu input needs to be instead of just memorizing it. Because there are, I think I counted it, and there's over 100 menus in Glitchless.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
A lot of them are the same menu. It's a lot of going from swords to Ocarina and back. That's the most common kind of menu.
I do recall when Jay was relearning or derusting Link's Awakening and then learning the Oracle games, and I was just like, how many menu routes do you know at this point? And it's
Too many.
Yeah, it's also wild to watch you like try to like go from one game to the other and then like mix up menu routes sometimes. And it's like, oh no, what has happened to my menu? My menu's just done. My menu's gone. It's toast.
I'm bad enough at actual like category routes.
Same.
To even try and add on the menu.
Rock Beetle, please.
Please. I'm just not close enough to them.
Picking up those rocks is actually, or picking up the rocks from the rock beetles is pretty tight. Like it requires like, what is the pixel window even? It's
closer than what I was doing.
There's your concise answer. All right, here we have Fortress of Winds. We have arrived.
This is a rather tricky dungeon.
Yeah, it really is.
Too early.
Man.
I thought I released late enough.
Almost got all those Stalthos in one hit. Very close.
I've only got them all in one shot in practice, never in a run.
That makes perfect sense. It seems right.
This room looks really scary, but it's not. Oh.
Oh.
I say that. You do want to align yourself up to this point, but I just went too far. Then you can just walk up like that.
Hi. So this is one of a couple rooms in the game which requires you to clone yourself multiple times to push blocks in certain ways. So I think this is actually, well, we saw the first instance of cloning yourself like quite a while back, actually. But
oh yeah,
so essentially you hold out, like you hold out your sword for a certain amount of time and it charges up all the way, like all the way. You step on those like colorful tiles and you can actually clone yourself. Each sword upgrade you get allows you to clone yourself one more time. So for now we can only clone ourselves once, but that's all we really need. Right now at least.
So this dungeon, the best way to imagine it is like it's a square with 4 corners. So we went to the bottom left corner, and now we're going to go to the bottom right corner. These 2 front parts have small keys that we're going to get and use it to get to the back half of the dungeon. This strat here is pretty tight.
Yeah, so we just like kind of
just.
Oh,
okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that is a really tight window of being, if you're too high, you did what I did there and just stab at the Armos with the sword. But if you're slightly too low, then the Armos moves in the wrong direction to chase after you. If you do it perfectly, you can basically ignore the Armos, create your clones, and the spin attack from creating your clones kills the Armos.
So we just kind of bully that Armos out of the way to pull the lever. I like that strat. Just like slash him.
Yeah, the recoil from hitting it knocks us into the deactivation zone for the Armos, so it instantly turns off or stops aggroing.
Yeah. So what Myth means by the activation zone or deactivation zone, by the way, is so there's only a certain range of positions in that room where the Armos will actually quote unquote aggro you. I say quote unquote because his movements are mostly random, but he will be active when you are in a certain zone. Like that is what it's dependent on. The leftmost column in that room, like the entire leftmost column of tiles, will not have that Armos activated.
There's a demonstration of doing the boot cancel to be able to quick fire arrows.
So far, neither of those Dark Nuts given the good RNG.
Yeah, we're doing a bonk.
If you
go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you do the bonk strat like Myth has, you want the Armos to charge into the wall underneath you, and that's ideal because you can then just get all 4 hits on him. All right, so now we have the mole mitts, and the mole mitts are gonna let us dig through certain materials. Like if you've seen like those tall, the tall sand-looking tiles, I guess you can call them. If you've seen those, we can now dig through those. So that allows more of the dungeon to be accessible now, and it allows us to, well, progress.
That room there is the most nervous room I have for this entire run.
Yeah, so those are wall masters, by the way, and what wall masters do, if you're familiar with pretty much any other Zelda game with wall masters, they will take you to the start of the dungeon if they grab you. And they are especially terrifying in this game because they are huge in this game.
So we don't need to create clones to perfectly match up with the puzzles. We can be one tile off and do a weird, like, little shimmy adjustment. I did it earlier on in the dungeon, in one of the earlier rooms, but yeah, demonstrating it here again. If we can like jostle off of one switch and onto another one, and the game thinks that both of them are pressed at the same time at some point, so it just solves the puzzle.
Yeah, basically, long story short, this dungeon got hands.
Oh yeah, this is the hands dungeon.
game throwing hands at you.
This next room's also incredibly terrifying.
Yep, we have one more one more opportunity.
Okay, runs alive.
That's fine. Honestly, no shame. No shame in like taking the above route there. Just don't get grabbed next time. Just like there's one more time. Just don't get grabbed this time.
It's taken me 6 months to get a run past that part without dying. I think I've got one run in the last 6 months to this point.
Oh my god.
I wasn't paying
that's-
attention. Oh
Yeah.
no, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's bad. Just kidding. That was actually just to get us back to the beginning of the dungeon. Anyway, okay, so now we're
Anyway.
approaching Mazal, the boss of this dungeon. So Mazal, if any of you have played Wind Waker, this boss is basically Godan, the boss of Tower of the Gods, with an extra step to it. The extra step being becoming Minish once the hands are down, and going inside, and then completing the phase in there.
One of the things I'm going to focus on in this fight is making sure that I exit the boss with 30 arrows, because we're going to we have to use the arrows, the bow a lot throughout this run. And if we waste too many arrows, it's going to make the final boss really hard. So it's important to think about it continuously throughout the run. Right, there's a 50-50 here which side, and I picked correctly.
Yes.
In classic Zelda fashion, every one of these bosses is all 3 cycles. I don't know how many times I've missed that first pillar, gone around, checked all of the pillars, and I was like, oh, it was the first one again, wasn't it?
Yeah, a good thing about those pillars though is that it can never be the same pillar 2 cycles in a row, which is good for, you know, potentially having an idea of where the next one is.
Yeah, at least you got some logic to a strategy with it instead of just repeating the same thing.
Okay, so now that we've done the exciting part, now that we've done Fortress of Winds, we're gonna do a lot of fetch questing. Basically, yeah, that's it.
So we want to get into the library, so the obvious thing is to come and talk to the random Minish in the lake. That makes perfect
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. So yeah, much in line with the flag setting that we've had to do in this run, we're gonna do that. And we're not done yet with the flag setting, since we need to go talk to a Minish in the library up on a bookshelf.
Yeah, the books just don't actually appear until we talk to this guy. I always have to double take on that menu. I don't want the bottle on my B button.
Yeah, bottle on B can get messy because basically to mash text, like mashing text is pretty decent in this game. Honestly, it goes by fast, and also you can use the D-pad to mash. But essentially, you want to hold B and mash the D-pad as well as maybe A or R as well. But holding B means that there is potential for you to use whatever is on your B button by accident, and in the case where that's a bottle, you don't want that to happen.
You weren't kidding. There were 3 rapid Eslo triggers there in a row.
Yep.
Yeah.
He does that. E.
I hope everyone was keeping track there.
If anyone is curious how many E's we have heard, like I've been counting specifically the E soundbite, not necessarily all the Eslo triggers, because the latter is going to be very, very high compared to this. We're at 21 E's, at least by my count.
I've never drowned in that bit of water before.
Oh
my!
Whoa,
What just
the
happened?
boost! The boost!
Right, we need to get that into TAS.
I didn't know this was being manipulated. I didn't know there was manipulation in this part.
Also, just save 25 seconds over world record by talking to the dog.
Jay did show me that segment when he was learning, because he was going off of your PB, and you just showed me how you went straight into the house instead of going to talk to the dog. And when you went back out the house to go where the dog was sitting there. You just see Link do an immediate 180, like, oh crap.
I forgot something.
Oh, okay.
I forgot to bottle water before.
That's really easy to do. That's
Yeah.
really easy to forget to do.
There's
Yeah,
always
this-
some minor mistake on this section.
This section is like the just please remember everything section. Because you go to a lot of places multiple times, including this guy's house. I think this is Mr. Right, I guess. Shout out to Link's Awakening. And also the game where Mr. Right originates from. I don't remember which one.
SimCity.
This is actually
Okay.
Dr. Left. Is
Is
his,
it? Oh.
Yeah, his brother. I don't. Some obscure relation, or maybe he's on the run.
Yeah, I know that Dr. Wright is in Link's Awakening.
On the run, as in like an alter ego to like running from the law or something.
Yeah.
All right, so we bottled that fairy because this category can be brutal sometimes with some of the stuff we have to do coming up. Ooh, that was a really
nice.
good double there, yeah.
Yeah, in most Zelda speedruns, when you see someone bottling a fairy, it's, oh, they're going to be doing a death abuse somewhere. No, this game's just hard.
It really is. Like as a nice dog. Like as a runner of any percent, primarily of this category, I will say that glitchless is actually probably the harder category between the two. Just because of like health management and just the fact that the game is damn hard.
And also the any percent category gets a boomerang, which just makes things so much easier.
Can I just ask how in the world can Link push entire bookcases as a Minish like size Link? It doesn't make any sense.
That's the power bracelets that we just picked up. They let Link retain his regular strength while Minish size.
Okay. That makes a little more sense, but still, my god.
Either that or it's one of those inflatable bookshelves just used for decoration or display. That's my theory, at least.
Okay, so that's book number 2. And now for the third and final book over in Lake Hylia.
Yeah, exactly. Those inflatable bookshelves. All right, so long lily pad movement section here. To get the last book.
Why did I do that? So eager on the roll.
I mean, lily pads once again proving that they are the worst thing in the game.
So I had to unpause there briefly because the flag for the book being knocked off the shelf doesn't set until the dust appears from it hitting on the ground. If I reset at the time that I did, it would have not been on the ground when I come back here as regular size Link.
So we're doing all this, by the way, to... Oh, you can talk to her back. Anyway,
This was a brand
sorry.
new strat. This was discovered by Nitros last month. You can, if you roll at the corner of the bookshelf, you're like 1 pixel inside of it, so you can talk to her. But if you try and approach it just like from walking to the back of it, you can't talk to her, you're too far away.
So we're doing all this, by the way, to get the flippers so that we can access Temple of Droplets. So now that we've replaced the books, we can now traverse all the way through this section to reach this Minish's house, which is in a book, of course.
Hi. Hi.
So this Minish is called Library because it's in the library. Oh yeah, and shout out to the Minish Cap randomizer as well. One of the most popular. Oh, I need to. There's a fight here.
Yeah. Yeah, these scissor beetles are a pain. That's all the commentary I can offer there. But basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to bait the scissor beetles by like standing in, I guess, a cardinal direction relative to them, and maybe slashing them once to throw their whatever that is at you.
Mandibles.
Yeah,
Sure.
the mandibles. You have to be really careful about the mandibles. So if you do a sword slash and hit the mandible, it does recoil damage back to you. So you really do not want to hit it at all. So yeah, you just bait it to fire off in one direction and then attack it whilst it doesn't have its mandibles anywhere close to you. You can deal a lot of damage to yourself if you're not paying attention to that.
Yeah, we're becoming more familiar with those enemies in this dungeon.
I think this is the scariest dungeon to people who are first picking up this category. It's very long. It's pretty much the longest dungeon if you don't count Batty, the final boss, as being part of the final dungeon. This is much longer.
Yeah, I think this dungeon's bordering on like 15 minutes or something.
Yeah. And it combines the two favorite themes for Zelda dungeons, ice and water.
Ah, yes. Everyone loves their water, temples and dungeons.
Yep, and don't
Ice
forget
physics.
about the dark maze room as well,
Oh boy.
a la Aghanim's Tower in Link to the Past.
These ice blocks are really annoying to push. There's a very awkward combination that happens when you get close to a corner of something and you're also being affected by ice physics and sliding around. It's hard to describe, but anyone who's actually played this and tried doing like pushing things around on the ice will know what I'm talking about. It's awful.
nice slug getting in the way there.
Jay, when you said the other day when you were doing a crystal randomizer that Yanma was a pestos, I just like, I was like, there's no way. And then looking at them again, like, I'm like, oh no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, they're Yanmas. They're discount Yanmas.
They're discount Yanmas. I mean, they're probably just as annoying after Yanma got speed boost. So, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. Now I'm thinking of pestos with speed boost, and I'd rather not.
We just need a double speed mod for this game.
I saw a post on Reddit where someone was like, what if there was a speedrun category where you play your game at ×2 speed?
There's actually, there's not an official category for it, but you can actually run like several Sonic games on PC at like absurd frame rates because they're tied to the hertz of your monitor. So like Sonic Adventure 2, if you're running that on a 144 hertz monitor, not on 60 hertz, it runs at like 2.5 almost 5 speed.
Yeah, that makes sense. That actually, a category extension for Link to the Past actually exists to play on 2x speed. Like,
That's
there's
absurd.
a leaderboard for that in Link to the Past.
I'm curious but also terrified of that for Minish Cap.
Curious but terrified, I think is a very valid response. Yeah, so this right here, you actually want to make the lily pad disappear and respawn over here, but you want to make sure that the lily pad is actually moving while you're transitioning, or else that won't work. All right, here we have Scissor Beetles fight number 1.
Oh, they are covering each other
Yep,
and not being close together, so you
They're
can't
teaming.
double kill them.
they're teaming up.
Oh. That was mostly okay. This dungeon can be way worse, so not gonna massively complain. But that's not the last of the Scissor Beetle fights. There's gonna be more.
Yeah, I think there's one more mandatory fight, and then you just kind of roll past the other set of them, I think.
Yeah.
And we have nice, convenient parts in those pots there.
Yeah, I'm not taking any. You very quickly learn where all of the health drops are in this game.
You have to.
I just realized the theme of this dungeon is actually very appropriate with the Christmas theme from Mercy Kill, because I just noticed like the Christmas bells in the background of this like dungeon music.
The music in this game is just absolutely amazing.
It
one of the
really
best
is.
parts.
It's so good.
And we are going to be going to a location later on, Altops, which is it's got the best music in the whole game. And
Oh, yeah.
We skip it in any percent, but luckily this category we get to visit it and experience the music.
That particular section of the game was one where I'll admit, I hated that section casually because everything mostly looks the same, and I couldn't really tell where I was most of the time. But in the speedrun, it's like actually pretty nice and smooth, and the music is fantastic.
I like the dungeon for Cloud Tops sounding like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon music.
Yeah, it kind of does.
So we got the return of an old friend here.
Baron the Big Blue Chew.
So this fight is going to be slightly... It's very similar to the green chew fight, but with the slight twist of it's a blue chew, so it's electrified.
Yeah, so it's invincible while it's electric, while it's like, you know, surrounded by that electricity. But that's on a timer. That's on like a strict timer. So it always unelectrifies itself at the same time. So it's a little easier to predict if you practice the fight. But it doesn't mean it's not annoying still.
The random nature of this fight is when it decides to jump. And if you're unlucky, like me just now, in this final cycle, it's supposed to jump 5 times in a row, but I got incredibly unlucky and it did 1 jump instead of 5. But okay, that's fine.
That's fine, yeah.
It can decide to immediately go into a 5 jump pattern as soon as it becomes vulnerable. It's incredibly unlikely to happen. And it seems to happen to me incredibly often.
People are calling the Big Blue Chew Wobbuffet now.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just all Pokemon, isn't it?
Oops, all Pokemon. I mean, these are clearly just pincers that crawl.
That was a pretty good fight.
Yeah, I'm not intentionally trying to hit those lanterns. I'm just avoiding the scissor beetles and...
I was just gonna mention that actually. Yep, like those lanterns are super annoying in that fight because whenever you come in contact with one, Link does this like animation on his own to light the torch.
Oh my god, one in the way.
Wow.
Please? Okay.
That was really trolly there.
Yeah, that blue Moldoza doesn't spawn there. It spawns quite a way away, and it managed to RNG its way all the way into that corner. It doesn't normally get there. That was... Yeah. It's just one of the quirks of the Dark Maze.
Trying to take advantage of roll iframes whenever possible, but sometimes it's better to just kill whatever's in front of you because like that blue I always forget the names of those enemies.
The Moldoza.
Moldoza, there we go. Those blue Moldozers can just like completely screw you over if you try.
Blue Ladybuzz.
Oh my god. Ladybuzz.
I mean, try and find the enemy in this game where the Pokemon analogy fails.
Yeah, like with Scissor Beetles, you have Ariados all day.
No, it's Scissor Beetle's Durant.
Oh, I guess.
It's a Durant with a paint job.
You could go 50-50 either way. This room is pretty difficult because there's a cycle that you want to meet with your clones here. And by cycle, I mean you want to finish the room before the clones go up. And good. Yeah.
Okay.
Myth made that look easy. It is not.
Yeah, you have to really get comfortable with how Link moves with... Please,
Yeah,
I
also
can't iframes through these guys. Iframes do not work on there, so you have to wait. That was obnoxious.
It actually might have been faster in that particular case to just take the burn and go through.
I don't
which
like
is really
my health.
funny. That was just super unlucky.
This room is a pain casually as well. but it's not too tricky.
Yep. Hi, Scissor Beetles. Bye, Scissor Beetles. Or Duran.
And going specifically for the only pots in that room that have hearts.
Yep.
By the way, there's your Catternese for the person who was asking.
If Matterpillar 1 was so good, why wasn't there a Matterpillar 2?
But Jay, there is. Just shh. Just shushing me.
Oh, we completely glossed over the fact that it was the Big Chew to Electric Boogaloo.
Oh no! Probably because I like made the bear in the Big Blue Chew joke. But no, I like Big Blue Chew Electric Boogaloo.
And that is the end of this dungeon and the beginning of an RNG manipulation.
Yep. So, Octomanip. So since RNG resets on either a soft reset or a hard reset, you can actually manipulate this fight. So Octo, the boss itself will have 3 phases to it. The first phase is pretty easy. The second phase is consistent, but he switches it up a little bit. But the third phase, he can ink you. He can do an attack called the ink attack. And he will basically, it just takes a long time to get inked. And you want to manipulate this fight in the speedrun to make sure that he doesn't do that, or at least do what you can to make sure he doesn't do that. And that requires a specific strat here involving a certain amount of rolls and just standing in certain positions.
So this is the big Octillery. And he's been frozen, so we got to apply some ice heals so he doesn't, stay frozen. The ice heal just be, the lantern.
I'm pretty sure that was a 3 roll.
Yeah. Yeah, the first wave looked like it. Yep, so he'll always do the suck attack, and then a rock, and then a suck attack, and then a rock, and then another rock. Every time there on the second phase. And on the third phase, it's completely random what he does, or at least it's supposed to be.
Okay, we're good. Yeah, that's 3 roll.
Yeah, that's 3. So from that rock pattern, Myth actually knows exactly how many rolls to do here once Octo starts moving in order to get 3 rocks every time. Now that pattern could have been a bunch of different things, but it's memorized essentially. It's memorized, or you can reference a picture or whatever of the patterns in order to dictate exactly how many rolls you want. And that's Octo.
That was a gold. It was a 0.0 gold.
Nice.
This fight is very consistent. Or at least when done perfectly, it's pretty much hitting within like fractions of a second of same time.
Someone else in chat picking up on what I was thinking when you said suck attack, suffer and succotash, but instead suffer and suck attack.
Okay, so the late great Gustav? Is that his name?
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yes. Tells you to go to the graveyard, and wouldn't you know it, we're actually going to go there. So yeah, we're just going to blow open this blow that rock up right
Pretty
there
sure
before
that'd be
leaving
locked.
on. And now we have a little bit of a stealth section. In the Japanese version, these guards are very not great at what they do. So we can just kind of walk past them.
Is there line of sight like 2 tiles in front of them and nothing else? Like, what is happening?
They hire proper guards in the North American version. And in the European version, they're just as easy as Japanese. Is it a worth ethic thing?
Yeah, so basically, if you don't talk to them and don't stand directly in front of them, you're fine.
Yeah, so we're returning to the Sanctuary to upgrade our sword with the next element that we picked up. It was a while back that we got the last element. But yeah, with this element, we add an extra clone to the number of clones that we can make.
Alright, so yeah, the way the progression of the game kind of works is that now that we have the ability to make 3 clones or two clones, 3 total copies, I guess, of Link, we can progress to the next part of the game, and this allows us to get to the graveyard. Right here.
Yeah, playing through casually, you just keep seeing these like larger and larger blocks going on. Got another gold. This is no, stop it.
So the reason we're here is because we want to get. So basically, Gustav told us, or the late Gustav, who is actually just a ghost of the previous King of Hyrule, wants to come here because, well, basically all I can say is that we get a golden kinstone at the end of the Royal Crypt here, and the golden kinstone allows us access to the cloud tops.
That bird's a jerk!
Yeah, this game is a real treat for fans of the Zelda series. If you've never seen this before, you'll recognize so many characters from, especially like Ocarina of Time.
It's a neat little strat here. Just walking completely diagonally right there just gets you right through those tombstones.
Yeah, it's quite easy to break your clones on it, but the lineup's so easy. You just hold, and it will just get you.
Pidgey stole your key.
I really like the Zelda 1 dungeon remix here.
Yeah, I really like it too. I like it too, even if it reminds me of Zelda 1.
You poor soul. Pour one out for all my Z1 runners.
I kid.
Pour 1 mineral water out.
Luckily, we don't stick around too long in this place. This is the last room here.
Yeah, luckily this isn't like a fully fleshed out dungeon or anything. It's just like a couple rooms.
So yeah, this is the kinstone that's going to let us go to the next area. That was another gold. It's 3 back-to-back golds.
Yo, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, I hear that's pretty good. Generally not bad to get 3 golds in a row. For those who don't know, by the way, a gold split means that it's the best split you've ever done in a run. So yeah, that's actually pretty good.
Oh, that's another for the E counter.
I bonked into that tree to hopefully get a fairy to, get onto full hearts, because why not do it whilst we're waiting for the bomb to explode, but that fairy didn't want to play nice.
Yeah, there's a bit of health before Palace of Winds. There's a fairy there as well, actually, too. Little bomb refill there.
I didn't end up using the fairy that I got before the Templar droplets. So
Oh yeah, you still have that too. I forgot about that.
yeah. So nowhere should be super scary.
Y'all mind if I just interject for just a moment to remind everyone who we are and what we're doing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is Never Before Seen. This is a hotfix show that happens every other Wednesday following Mercy Kills, usually starting between 9 and 10 p.m. Eastern. We are doing the Minish Cap Glitchless because it is a category that has never been run in an AGDQ, SGDQ, or GDQx event. I can words, I promise. Never Before Seen's main goal is to showcase runs in categories exactly like that, that have never been in main events, because they deserve a platform as well. And there's plenty of really awesome runs that have not been shown off in the biannual events. So that's what we're doing. We're doing Minish Cap Glitchless with Myth197 as the runner and TGH in the back seat, just yelling out things, occasionally.
Yeah, that's me. Sounds about right.
And
So-
for those of you who are wondering what the E counter is at, I'm at 29.
Intro. So we're in the cloud tops and listening to the best music.
Yes. Any music emotes that you have, would highly recommend using them in high quantities in this area. If you would.
So in this section, we have to go. It's like the swamp. It's kind of like a really open area with. The swamp had 3 kinstones. This has 5 kinstones. They're all like separated out, and it's kind of a bit of a maze. If we get pretty lucky with the enemy RNG, we're not actually going to have to equip the sword at all to deal with any of these here. As you saw with the first fight with the Sky Sharks, if we stand against the edge, we bait them into jumping, and then they just jump off the edge.
Whoa. That shark was really happy to see you.
Luckily, the sharks always spawn in the same... Oh, okay, that was the Xbox loading close. Yeah, the sharks always spawn in the same point in the room every time you load in. So we like to enter at the right positions to ideally force them to always jump off.
Yep. So this looks really weird. We're just gonna use this tornado to come just all the way back here.
I saw a casual streamer doing that because they got lost. And I realized that it saves a second for the glitchless speedrun.
I actually really like movement-based categories like this glitchless run because very often casual streamers or people playing the game for the first time find things that are actually faster. Or even just like safer strats that are still more consistent, even if they are like either, breaking even or a little bit slower for newer runners getting into it.
Yeah, and this category has one route and one route only. At whatever level you're doing it, you're always doing exactly the same. at all levels.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So now that we've fused with all the clouds necessary to well, actually not quite. Yeah, well, there's one more, but we want to get back to the beginning here, the beginning of this section, to fuse with this last one. And that'll completely unlock the way up to Palace of Winds.
That's my 4th gold in a row. That was a big goal.
Wow.
That was over 5 seconds.
You are blazing.
Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It's working.
I tried rolling right there, but my roll input got eaten because I was in front of a chest.
Yeah, another thing about rolls is that you have to be holding in a certain direction, or excuse me, you have to be holding in the direction you want to roll at least a frame before you actually initiate the roll, or else it just either won't work or you'll roll the wrong way. All right, so here we have Palace of Winds. This first room, honestly, is one of the hardest in the whole palace. And these peahats are really happy to see you.
We do want to get that arrow drop. Annoying that I missed.
Hi, Stelthos.
Just decided to take a trip across the bridge.
What you doing, buddy?
It doesn't usually do that. But yeah, like that the last part of that room is very obnoxious, because if you get hit by one of those Stelthos, if you or one of your clones get hit, you have to reset that entire area and redo your clones. Nice little damage boost strat there. So that movement probably looked a little bit erratic, but that was actually to avoid an Eslo trigger. And here we have the Wizard fight. Very well placed bombs.
Very nice.
And even saved the bomb as well. That was nice.
Yeah, this part now gets very tight on bombs, so we do literally everything to save our bombs, and in fact sometimes go out of our way to get extra bombs to be extra safe.
That cycle right there, by the way, is actually not as hard as it probably looks.
That setup
There's a bit of a setup.
Very easy for people to learn.
Yeah. Yeah, like if you saw him jump pretty much immediately starting the room out, that jump was on purpose in order to time the cycle.
Look at all these Murkrows just trying to ruin your day.
This room is a tiny bit scary because, well, if you fall, you go back to the beginning, but that was really well done.
Yeah, so I'm doing this weird strap the clouds. So the thing that triggers you to climb up through the clouds to the next floor is that you're touching the border of the screen, and Link's height coordinate, his Z-axis value, is basically higher than 0. So we could reach the edge of the screen from jumping from one of the lower clouds. And just save some time instead of having to climb up all the clouds.
Yep. In other words, it's just an exploit of the way the triggers work. It's not a glitch by any means.
I feel like a lot of the things in this run that look like glitches, as soon as you explain the technical explanation of how it works, it becomes clear why it's not a glitch.
Yeah.
Or at least isn't classified as one.
So I've got a question in chat. That's to the two of you. How important is the community for this game in the sense of pushing the time down and pushing each other to, you know, improve? Like I guess the community camaraderie on like improving the game's time.
So I'll go ahead and say that as a basically I guess like still a fairly new like 8% runner. After each and every PB that I get, Myth actually messages me, like sends me a DM with like stats for my run and like detailing like where it can be improved and stuff like that. So I can definitely speak for that aspect of just like wanting to be better. It's like I didn't ask for this. Like I didn't I didn't even ask him to do that. He just did it.
I'm so sorry, everyone. I can't believe I rolled up instead of down, and
it was my
the
fault.
swag.
It was my fault. I was distracting you.
Yeah, I want to see people enjoy this game as much as I do. Like, it's so much fun seeing a new person pick up the game, and maybe their first run wasn't fantastic, but then
Most
they do
first
another
runs
run.
aren't.
Yeah. What am I doing? And then that was a pretty good fight anyway. But yeah, when they post their next run and they got like a half-hour PB, it's amazing.
It is a really cool thing to see.
So the next fight in this this dungeon is amazing. If you were like only half paying attention to this run or whatever, it like just pay attention to like the next 10 seconds here.
Yeah, it's like this is actually like one of the most amazing like displays of technique that you'll find in this game, and the fight's over. So anyway, moving on.
I wasn't keeping track of my bombs. I think I'm still good.
I'm not even gonna lie, at first I was like, wait, a new route?
Yeah, no, that was me trying to roll, assuming that I got the roll and then moving up, but
Yeah, that happens.
a lot of dropped rolls. This room's tricky.
Movement is hard in this game, like just in general. It's satisfying, but it's hard. Also, yeah, that room is certainly something.
So for the speaking directly about the glitchless speed run, this is quite an unplayed category and an heavily unoptimized one. There's only been several world records since 2018. I have to focus for this room. Okay, it's fine. That was
This
mildly
dungeon got
terrifying.
hands too.
My God, the wall masters look absolutely horrifying in this game. They actually look intimidating and not just goofy.
So that was just a little bit early on the jump, I think.
I released the jump too early. You need to glide for a little bit longer. Yeah, that's called YOLO jump, and it's normally way more consistent, especially if you just hold the button the whole time. It's completely consistent, but I was just too greedy and I released the glide too early to try and drop faster.
Yep, so just let that wall explode and then go grab those bombs, because we very much need the bombs. And we actually get the same pickup again. Nice shell.
Yep, there's our shell drop.
Yeah, so shells are completely useless in this run. If one drops in front of you, yeah, you just kind of have to take it, and it's nothing but a time loss.
This room here reminds me a lot of like a room that you would do in like Link's Awakening or the Oracle games.
Or where you just like jump over.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
This game,
yeah,
the cape's so late that you don't really see its use very much. Whereas like in those games, that it's such an earlier item.
Yeah, Seasons in particular is the one that actually gets the Rock's Cape. The Rock's Cape is much later in the run, but you get the feathers super early because in those games, jumping is a main mechanic.
Yeah, so that cloud jump right there is actually really tight, at least from what I could figure out trying to do it the other day. So you have to actually like, and here's York, by the way. But yeah, you have to actually like delay your cape usage quite a bit for that particular one. So yeah, York, you have two separate parts of York. You have the red part and you have the blue part, or the big guy and the small guy, if you will. The red guy, you have to actually hit all the eyes first, and then just kind of like wail on the second set of eyes. But you don't have to have the exact same formation as the eyes have. Like this formation that Myth is using right now will pretty much always work. In fact, it will always work. That's why we do it essentially. And then this part, if you're lucky, you can actually double hit the eyes. And if you're unlucky, that'll happen and you'll get a tail attack before you're even able to. But that was honestly well handled despite that. And it's really good here to try and maintain your clones. It's not always you can't always do it, but if you can, then it's good. It's good to maintain it basically because it takes a lot of time to charge your sword back up again. This is a pretty good fight.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, nice cloneless.
Yeah, you take being bullied by one of the blue, but the rest of that was perfect. That was exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, good stuff. So that was Palace of Winds, and there's nothing left to do now except go straight to Hyrule Castle and start the end sequence of the game. And by the end sequence, I mean the longest dungeon in the game, and also probably the hardest dungeon in the game overall, including the final boss.
In the very last cycle of that fight, I did a spin attack to hit the eyes, but still in nicely together. Getting one of those patterns is about 50-50.
Yeah, and it also requires a pretty, I should say, like relatively precise place to stand in order to actually get that as well with the spin attack. You can also get it with normal slash, but the setup is a bit different. It's also just faster to set up with the spin because you are already You're already setting up with a spin, basically.
Yeah, I'm doing the spin to get ready to create clones, and then it's just the bonus that the eyes are in a good pattern so that you just get to skip creating the clones and just hit it directly. So one of the goals I had for this run was to get into Dark Horror Castle in under 2 hours, which we haven't reached that point yet because we've got another cutscene, but I pretty much will.
Nice.
That's another for the E counter. That is our 30th E. There's a lot of... Yeah, there's a lot of Eslo triggers or Eslo, like, you know, any point where he talks that is just not E. Like, way fewer E's than I thought. So if you feel like you're experiencing deja vu if you've been here from the start, well, that's because, yes, they are replaying the intro here.
So
Yeah,
I've
why
had a
did
PB
you reset?
I've had a PB pace run before up to this point that I was checking my splits, and I didn't realize that I had my reset button bound to like one of the skip split buttons, and I actually reset during this cutscene. So everyone jokes about that now, about just like Myth don't reset.
I didn't mean to actually joke about resetting because I said like, why'd you reset? Referring to like, you know, the repetition of the original cutscene, of the opening cutscene.
It's fine. I got a
mean,
way
like,
better pace PB shortly after, so I wasn't upset.
Yeah. That's always good. All right.
So there is the possibility of doing a glitch in this next room, which I'm going to do my best to avoid. Really shouldn't hit.
Yeah, there's a pretty clear, like basically if you go far enough down in this room, yeah, there we go. Like if you get right to that point vertically, Eslo will talk to you. And if you actually, if you interrupt the cutscene with Eslo's trigger, you're allowed to move around during this part where you're supposed to be frozen, and that is a glitch, and that is banned, and it will invalidate your run.
Yeah, that's sub 2 hour into Dark Horror Castle.
Good stuff.
Please don't. Dude.
Moblin took exception.
So in this next room, there's two wisps that will curse you, and I just do not want to deal with these guys. Really? He's running away. It's obviously way faster to not deal with those guys and instead equip the bombs, but you got to pick your fights. If one of those guys hits you, you get cursed for 10 seconds, which means that you can't do anything. You can't use any items, you can't shrink. So it's just instant 10-second time loss, which, given what they did there, probably may have been preferable.
So yeah, the first order of business is to get a key, and the first key you can access is from the Frozen King over there. So you free him, and he gives you a key, and then you reset, or you save and quit, don't reset, in order to get back to the start.
And with this save and reset, we'll do the first RNG manipulation in this dungeon. We're going to do one boot tap to make the moblin get out of our way. Like that. And then this guy's moving up now. Just because
does a slash work there too, or does it have to be a boost tap?
I think a boost tap is faster than doing a slash. I'm not sure about doing it. I've not tested with the slash. and then we leave and re-enter the dungeon to set our save and quit warp point. So instead of doing save and quits later on, oh wait, hang on for this room.
Yeah, this room is tricky.
Okay, that's fine. When we do save and resets, instead of getting warped back down to the basement where the sanctuary was, we'll instead get put at the dungeon entrance. I was facing the wrong direction.
Yeah, honestly, a really good move there from Myth to actually just reset the room so that spike trap does not get in his way.
We're going to do another cannon room here. This is one
This
of
time
the
sideways.
scariest part.
Yep. Yeah, so you've seen the vertical, and now check out the sideways version. But yeah, the timing on this one is a little bit more precise, as is the position for the bomb throw.
Perfect.
Nice. Well done.
That saved 45 seconds over my PB. That just completely choked.
It's so easy to do in that room. Like, it's just like... Yeah, it's bad to miss that initial bomb.
Oh, it's
Also a nice fight.
I was counting to 7. It's 5. It's 5 on those guys. It's 7 on the black ones.
Yeah.
But that was the first Dark Nut that gave us good RNG.
Finally, one charges down.
Apart from the next Dark Nut, all of the Dark Nuts that we're going to see afterward are going to be RNG manipulated to give favorable movement, make them hopefully die quickly. This is also a really chill part of the dungeon where you're just gliding through the outside section. Not too much you have to think about.
Yep. In this room, you're forced to wait as well twice for the fire bar. There we go. Words for the fire bar to actually just finish rotating around where you can get hit.
Like this room is so incredibly easy. I'm just gonna hold down from this on. You just make it all the way over to the platform. Also, the cannons are mounted on the wrong layer, so even if the cannons fire directly at you, you will never get hit.
What?
Yeah, they're just for show.
They're just there to be scary. Also, yeah, you can just hit all 4 of those switches without cloning yourself. That is the first of 2 instances where we do that same thing. Except that one was pretty easy because so here you can just place a bomb there. Fun fact, I did that in my casual playthrough because I could not figure out how to do this room otherwise. So I was just like, wait, what if I just did this and it worked? I'm like, wait, you're kidding me.
Interesting.
Yeah, good fight.
Oh, heart drop was very much appreciated.
Yes.
I'm 10 seconds behind my PB, and my PB doesn't get Vati Manip,
Ooh.
so I can save like a minute.
Let's go. That help up there is nice. Come on, Red.
really? No dashes. Okay, that's the last, like, RNG guy.
That was well done. Like exiting that room, it's actually easy to get knocked into the hole by the fire bar there.
Yeah, if you go with perfect timing, you can just mash roll and get out pretty safely.
All right, so now we have one key out of the 4 that we need. Like basically, the second half of this dungeon is basically just getting the keys necessary to get the boss key, which you may have already seen. But getting the keys are essentially locked behind these Dark Nut fights, all of which will be actually manipulated as well. Nice. So that, those switches right there, that's a pixel perfect exposition that you need there, and that was like pretty much instantly getting it. That was really clean. So another save and quit. Since we have these warps unlocked, we're just going to be saving and quitting back to the beginning of the dungeon and accessing the warps in order to get to the places that we need to go here. Now we're going to head over to the right.
Dudes.
Okay, it was honestly well handled for the beginning. I was like, oh no, shell, and then realized, oh, we've already got the shell.
Yeah, I remember that we got it earlier, so I was like, that's fine to just go through.
Okay, so there we go, nice. So those guineas, those are called guineas, or G-H-I-N-I. Any one of those 4 could have been the real one. But that was decent RNG there.
This is the last tower.
Nice.
I don't know what this RNG is. It was supposed to drop a shell. I continue the manipulations up to the ghosts, so it's the same ghost that I slash mine. This one? No. Oh, don't. That was the real one. The real one grabbed me.
Yeah, so guineas can be a pain.
They can
those
chain
fights
stun
can
you.
snowball.
They
Yeah,
can just
those fights can
grab-
snowball really fast.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have all the keys that we need. And the big key is basically guarded by 4 key blocks. Which means we have enough. So we're gonna go get that. So right now, Myth is actually starting a manipulation for the final boss. So if you want me to be quiet, I will. But
No,
basically,
please explain.
okay, yeah, basically. So this, ideally, the manip would go at least through Vadi 1, but you want it to also go through Vadi 2 as well, if possible. So you'll notice that their Myth actually did not roll as many times as he possibly could have. That is to set up the manipulation and make the RNG value the same every time entering this room. And this room also requires you to only sword slash a certain amount of times.
That is not right. Oh. Oh, that's a shame. Oh, so we're getting a random Vati fight. That was a gold, but yeah.
It can still be like, so you can still get a good fight without manipulation. It's a lot harder, but you still can.
I'm 20 seconds ahead of my PB, and my PB does not get a manipulation either, so it's just going to come down to how well we can pull this off.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, best of luck. So here's Vadi 1. Vadi 1 is basically just get rid of all the eye orbitals and then slash the main eye once it opens.
It's just basically a beefed up Patra.
Yeah, it's Patra if you've played Zelda 1. It's Patra basically, but with some added stuff to it. There we go, that's phase 1, and now we move on to phase 2, where the eyes, were covered in darkness, I suppose.
Oh,
Nice RNG there, no teleport.
I think I missed a cycle. Yep, I didn't. I hit it 5 times instead of 6. So he's gonna die in 1 hit. Okay.
Okay, so Vadi 2. So Vadi 2 is surrounded by these, eyes. Or rather, any one of them could be eyes, except for the first one, where they're always in the beginning, or always at the front, excuse me. And then you clone yourself.
Please.
Come on, Vadi. Okay, that works.
Yeah, sure.
Any clone pattern works. No,
Yep.
don't leave.
Yeah, so now they're on the side. They can't be in the same location twice. They can only be, they can be like joined together, or they will be joined together always, but they can't be in the same place twice in a row. Yeah, so that means they're at the front. Yep. Be nice. Yeah, well done. That was honestly a really good unmanipped body.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was so
Like
lucky.
that was super good. And that was also a 3 cycle as well. So that fight, I think ordinarily is actually 4 cycles, like casually, but the canceling of the clones at the right time makes that a 3 cycle. Something to do with the way Vadi's health works, like you can only deal the final hit with Link. With like the main Link. It's strange. Vadi's health is weird in general. Alright, so now begins like the sort of castle escape sequence. So you're told to go to the sanctuary, and you're interrupted by Vadi, who then transports you to here, and here begins Vadi 3. So Vadi 3 has 2 phases. This is basically and we're not done yet phase of the boss.
Oh, wait, there's more.
Oh wait, there's more.
Please stick your hand in the ground, Vati.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you're just kind of at the mercy of Vadi to stick his hand in the ground, and then you hit it with the cane. Ooh, okay.
That's honestly fine.
Yeah, so the Ringmaster eye there will always be the only eye that's actually facing at Link, or like looking at Link in the room. Every other one is a copy and will not deal any damage. Also, he can't get hit while he's on the portal. So he's just chilling out on the portal for a while until Vati actually does his attack. Pin him against the wall. Yes. Nice. Okay. That's really not bad of a first phase.
The one thing we don't want it is to launch over on the left. Okay.
Yeah, this is fine. So you want to stand in front of Vati here to trigger him to do the correct attack there, like the blue orb attack at you. That's the only attack that can damage him. And you can only damage him by hitting all 4 back at him at the same time. All right, that's 2. One more phase, and he's only hitting him twice per phase here.
Time is
cycle.
coming up when I throw the bomb at Vati. Oh my god! Yeah,
That's I'm guessing that's a PB.
that's a new world record.
That is a new world record, folks.
What are we looking at? Like, when did that bomb hit?
That was
On your
a
end.
2:17:43. That's a new record
Yep.
by 20 seconds.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh
first
my
ever.
god.
Congratulations.
That's the first ever 217.
217.
That is the first ever
Oh,
217. Congratulations.
Yeah, we were a little late on the timer.
I was
on
so
our end,
tense
but
at the end there.
still.
Thank you so much for like taking up all of the slack on the commentary and explaining everything.
I mean, I was just as like I was midway between rooting for you and also trying to be like as informative as I could, even if it probably wasn't that much. But that was exciting to watch for a finish. Let's go.
Yeah, that's better than I could have hoped for. Yeah, really happy with this one. That was amazing.
Huge congrats. Everyone getting their GGs out for Myth getting the first 217 in Minish Cap Glitchless. That's absolutely incredible. Absolute huge GGs. Like, you told me, like, this could happen, but I wasn't sure if it would because you were telling me about the wall masters in Palace of Wind being giant trolls.
Yeah. For 6 months, I've just been cursed with them just aggroing immediately to me. As soon as I enter the room, they just come grab me, and it's like, okay, that's a minute time loss. Run's dead. But yeah, it was absolutely amazing to be able to get a run with relatively minor errors, mostly.
Even without a manipped Vati, that Vati was actually really tame for unmanipped.
It was,
honestly,
yeah.
I have to thank Rando for that. We fight Vati so many times in Rando doing races and stuff without any form of manipulation, which just gets you so experienced in dealing with the randomness that Vati throws your way.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
like
goodness.
V2 especially. V2 was just like, it was
V2
it was really
good.
clean. It was really clean for an unminute
Yeah,
fight.
having to
Yeah.
having to improvise on the fly and go, okay, he's not going to let me create the clone cinder pattern that I want. Let's try a different pattern. Still being able to get it.
Yeah, that was actually really, like, well executed there. Just being able to improv on the fly is really good. Like, we were talking earlier about, like, how you react to menus rather than memorize them, and, like, being able to be a reactionary speedrunner is just as important as being a speedrunner who can memorize absolutely everything ever. So, like, again, huge congrats and GGs for on the world record in the PB.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show and featuring Minish Cap.
It's my pleasure. Like, I'm gonna shout out TGH for, like, saying, like, you know, Minish Cap Glitchless hasn't been on, because I was trying to figure out what to have on for this week, and Jay was like, you know, Minish Cap Glitchless hasn't been on, and I double checked because there's, like, some runs that are not listed for what category that have been on main GDQs, and they're all glitched. So like, glitchless is such a cool like movement category. I like it a lot.
Yo, it was actually really funny. We were looking at past VODs, and we were looking through like the really old any percent runs on the GDQ channel, trying to find out if they had like glitches or not, so that they couldn't be like considered glitchless. And I just remember like looking at Temple of Droplets, being like, oh, they're doing OG. Oh, they're doing Ocarina Glitch.
Yeah, any percent's been featured 4 different times, and this run beats one of them.
Yeah, like that's really
Like one
incredible.
One of the glitch ones, you mean?
Yeah, the very
Yeah,
first one in
that's-
2011.
That's unbelievable.
But do you have any shout outs or anything you want to say? Like, and also I'm gonna go ahead and post your Twitch link in the chat, and also post TGH's as well before we
Yes.
sign off.
So if you like Minish Cap, you like my content, I do a variety of different stuff, randomizer, speed runs, and tutorials. If you are interested at all in learning more about Minish Cap, you can check out my YouTube. It's full of great videos that cover all of that kind of stuff.
Can confirm that's how I learned, like, basically the entire first half of any percent.
Yeah,
Just
follow
saying.
the runner. And also follow the commentator, TGH. He just picked up this category, like did his first 2 runs yesterday. And is the current world record holder for any percent as well. So if you like Minish Cap, that is a thing that you can do and follow him. Only reason I'm plugging you is because I live with you and I know what you stream. It is kind of a thing I will know by proxy. But seriously, follow both of them for Minish Cap content and Zelda content in general. And thank you again, both of you, for being on the show. This was really, really nice. I just want to go ahead and let y'all know that tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, we are continuing our month of the second step with Overcooked 2. So come see Kizaron and Jay Hobbs cook up a storm in this cooperative speedrun. And for anyone who was wondering, our Eslo counter for the letter E was 38. If I am wrong, tell me in YouTube comments, or like DM me or something. Like, I would love to know. Or if you count all of the Eslo triggers, tell me what that count is, because I was not going to count that. There's no way. But that's going to be it for us. This was the last Never Before Seen of 2021. We will see you again in 2022 following AGDQ, where I will do my usual bonus stream, pulling backup runs that, you know, don't make it into the schedule during the live event. And that said, next Wednesday, so in 2 weeks, on the 29th of December, Skybill's mentioned it at the end of Mercy Kill, we are doing a big showrunner shindig with a bunch of hotfix showrunners just joining for the end of the year, doing runs, doing some ridiculous stuff. If you've ever seen our What's Faster show here on Hotfix, it's a little bit of that mixed with a lot of hilarity. You'll see games pitted against each other that are not supposed to be racing each other. It'll be fun. So tune in on the 29th for that. But that's going to be it for us. If you have anything else to say, now's the time.
I think I need to go lie down.
I don't blame you. It is late for you. But anyways, have a good rest of your night, y'all. We're going to send y'all over to another speedrunner after we do a quick break. Send all your good energy and positive vibes there. So have a great rest of your night. I will see you in 2 weeks, and then again in 2020.